All right, guys, this is part of the Hendey series. This is the tailstock from the Hendey Tool and Gauge Maker lathe. Beautiful headstock. So, the original quill in the tailstock was worn about 5 thousandths undersize. The tailstock seems to be in good shape. What I found is this shaft, okay? See this shaft? It's 1.5 inches. I think it's 1045 steel. And so this is the, the taper end, and this is the hand wheel, the crank end, okay? I guess I can't be in the shot. But anyways, the tailstock was mostly worn, a little bit, like a thou or less. Let's say it's a half a thou worn here and on the hand crank, and it's really not worn hardly at all. But the ram, like I said, was worn a lot, about 4 or 5 thousandths. So this piece, you can watch this end, right? I know it's not even in the shot, but from end to end, this thing's about 22 inches long. So this thing, it moves like butter, right? You can see it, if you twisted it so it doesn't move freely, but if there's one spot, it travels in a linear axial fashion, real easy. And if this thing is tight, put a little oil in there. And so the thing is, now if I rotate it, it locks up. If I rotate it the other way, it locks up. I got about a 10-degree window, maybe 15-degree window where it doesn't lock up. So some interesting factors are going on here. Like I said, that's dead smooth. I mean, that glides like ice on ice, like right, So this shaft is tri-lobed by about 3 or 4 tenths. My buddy Clapped Out Bridgeport came over. He's from Alabama. So Clapped Out Bridgeport came over and he was helping me measure this on the V-blocks, on the surface plate, and we kind of played around, had a little fun with this. Thus we could determine the shaft is tri-lobed, like I said, about 3 or 4 tenths. And the tailstock is worn probably on the bottom from gravity more than whatever. So there's the tailstock could be a little tri-lobe. I couldn't measure the tailstock other than it's a little bit bigger top and bottom and a little bit smaller side to side. So I got like a 2-sided oblong tailstock and a 3-sided shaft, but not much. But like I said, if you find the right spot, you can glide it like butter. But if you turn it, man, it locks up. And I can turn it. I could probably give it a revolution if I wanted to, right? So it's tight. But if I cut the key, I'm gonna make a new quill. If I didn't say that, that wasn't obvious. If I gotta cut the key in the bottom, the keyway. So if I orient this shaft where it's free and mark it and make sure I clamp it in the mill and I mill my keyway on the bottom, I am going to end up with a beautiful hard, beautiful fit on this tailstock and new quill, new ram, whatever you want to call it. Some people would call it a quill. I guess you could call it a ram. Quill, spindle, whatever. It doesn't matter. Let me take the camera and I want to show you if it'll You see the marks, see the stripes, right? So this was, you couldn't see these stripes until I've been passing it back and forth in the bore, right? We've been kind of playing with it. Focus. It seemed to focus better there, yeah. So you can see the stripes. You know, there you go. Ooh, man, that's beautiful. Okay, so what it is, like I said, it's way long. What is that? 13 inches or something? Okay. It's a 10-inch, and I think the original quill was 13 inches. You know, whatever. But what I want to do is I want to make it longer. I want more travel. The original one actually the Acme nut is newer. What does that say? 4 inches of travel. 4 inches of travel. There's the oil slot on top and the keyway on the bottom, right? So, and the Morse taper, you can trust me, it's just tacoed. It's just freaking, it's done, right? So, so, well, this is about the same. 10 inches. Okay. All right, well, that's that, right? Okay. So there's the taper side and there's the hand wheel side. So the way the hand wheel mounted, you can't see, but there's threads inside, right? This would never come out the back. It just wouldn't. It had a, well, frig, let me get it. So there's the thrust washer that's completely tacoed. And that used to screw in, and then there's the hand crank that would go, you know, on the back of here. So this thing is threaded. So normally it would have threaded into the tailstock. So those threads, what I want to do is I can't really access them threads. It's just it's too tight. So you know that I can't screw that in if I make it longer. I could just make it extend out the front more and have the 4 inches of stroke and just have it reach out over the cross slide a bit more, which could be handy. But then you can't retract it, and your bed length gets kind of unusable with whatever that would end up being. So what I want to do is I got some options here. Look from the side. Let me bend down. So this has got some distance to it. I could put this whole tailstock in the lathe, and I could turn this straight and thread this with some OD threads, some outside diameter threads, and screw a tube on to here with internal threads, like a piece of pipe. It'd be like 2-inch pipe or something, and come out here with the pipe, and then screw my end fitting on some internal threads. So that's an idea. Actually cut some external male threads on the tailstock. Another idea is, so, you know, that's about, you know, it's got some, I mean, that's got to be 3/8 at least, maybe closer to half. 7/16, let's call it. I could put some tapped holes in there, you know, 10/24 or hell, 1/4 inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch tapped holes. Put six holes around there, or 8, probably 6. 8 holes if I use 10/24, 6 holes if I use 1/4 20. But anyways, I can put a flange there, and then work everything off the flange, you know. The cam lock goes there. So I gotta leave some room for that, which is, it's not gonna be tight today. But put a bolt pattern there and put a flange there and screw a tube to the flange, or directly thread this cast iron tailstock. It would be probably easier, it would be less pucker factor to clamp this in the mill, indicate it up, do a circle, lay out a circle, lay out some spacing, and drill and tap 6 or 8 holes in there, probably 6, and then work it from there. To actually cut threads on here and swing this in the lathe, well heck, I got a nice mandrel bar that locks in there if you twist it. And I could support this, I could put a tailstock center on there, I could clamp that in the chuck, and lock, you know, put a driving dog somehow, because it's got a cross hole for the, you know, the cotters. And I could absolutely spin this in the big Colchester and cut some threads on here for like a 2-inch or so, whatever size tube, and screw the tube on there and screw the little you know, a tailstock bearing piece, thrust piece on that. So there's an idea. You know, it's freaking a lot of options. So that's it. I kind of wanted to just show you that and discuss some options. Leave some comments what you think. But this is tight, man. It's tight and it glides, which is perfect. But only in one orientation because it's tri-lobed. And everybody's going to say, why don't you hone it out with a Sonnen hone, a rigid hone? Why don't you set the shaft up and grind it truly round in the Brown & Sharp 13 over there? Why don't you, Doozer? Because, I mean, then the fit is a little bit looser, and yeah, does it have to be round? No, it does. And you know, with those high spots, the spiral from the centerless grind, I've had this shaft for like over 15 years, just knocking around. It'll wear in, man. If it's smooth and there's no burrs and there's some high spots, it'll just burnish itself in. But I mean, it's gliding on oil, man. If I get it, I mean, it's just that one spot, it glides like wet ice on wet ice, especially you put a couple drops of oil in there. Really light oil. I put like Croyle. That stuff is just wonderful. And it smells like heaven. Let's put a couple drops of that in there. I've been running it in the parts washer with you know, what's it called, paint thinner that I got in. There's the cam lock that goes in the back and whatever. But it would be sexy to just thread that and get a piece of tubing and thread it and just make it like, that's the cleanest way. Puts a little, I'd have to turn it, measure it, figure out, you know, what do I want? Do I want 12 threads per inch or 14 or, you know, whatever. 10, 3/4, 10 threads per inch might look good. I don't know. But that's the next stage with the Hendey tool and gauge maker lathe. Yeah, that's the next step. So anyhow, that's where I'm at, planning my next move as usual with this guy. Just love this lathe. And the carriage moves like butter. And like I said, I got some, I don't know if I showed collet closers. that we're gonna adapt 5C. I got a Royal and a JFK. So anyways, all right, enough of that. Till next time, let's leave some comments. This is Doozer Shop.